Greetings, adventurers, and welcome back to the Crithalla podcast. I am your host for this evening, Ol Skiflack, also known as Dan. I am also joined by my fantastic co-hosts here. We'll start with Stavi. Sodope Stavi, what's going on, bud? How are you?
What's going on, Dan? Hey, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back. And we also have Mike, also known as Cosmic Key. What's up, dude?
Nothing, just being fantastic. You know, the usual. So
The usual,
Being fantastical.
Yeah, fantastic. Hi, Mike.
hello.
Hey, bud.
Hey guys.
Hey! Yes, welcome back, everybody, to the Crithalla podcast. As I always check out, the last podcast went really well. I was really happy with the responses we've been getting, and I've been really, it's been great. It really has been. You guys are awesome. However, if this is your first time checking out the Crithalla podcast, welcome. We run a show on here called DMs Discuss, where every episode we discuss a specific DM-related question, and we answer it to the best of our abilities. However, this is a special episode. Actually.
Super special.
Super duper special.
Like the superest.
Like, it's like insane.
Like, you know, at the end of old cartoons, is this like a very special episode of something?
Yeah, like the 100th episode or something, but it's not. It's totally not.
This is like the Harlem Globetrotter like Scooby-Doo crossover.
Yeah.
Kind of special.
Yeah, big special.
Tell them what it is. Tell them what it is.
We
Dan.
are doing a Q&A on Crithalla podcast.
Heck yeah, dude.
Heck yeah, dude. We are we're doing a giveaway over on the Facebook page for Crithalla, and I asked everybody to join in the giveaway, and all they had to do was ask one question, DM related, Dungeons and Dragons related, whatever at all. And we're going to sit here and answer them today. We're going to try to get through as many as we possibly can. Our podcast is usually about an hour, but we'll see how many we can get through. And everybody who entered will be in on a special little spinny wheel with all your names on it. And I will post that video in a few days after the podcast is out so everyone can see exactly who won. But it will be revealed who the winner is on this podcast today.
Oh!
Yeah, baby.
Hey-o.
Yeah, baby.
Also, just so you guys are aware, even if we do not get to your question during this particular podcast, like Dan said, you are still entered. In fact, we're going to have a back catalog of questions, so that way the next time we do one of these AMA kind of podcasts where we just answer your questions, we will have like a nice little stock to kind of pull from and use for the future. So don't worry if we don't get to your question this week or during this event. We still have your questions and we will get through them at some point in the future.
Exactly.
The key thing to take away here is that if you asked questions, you are entered. So do not worry if you... Yeah, do not worry if you did not hear your question.
Yeah, and in this giveaway, we're giving away a Crithalla podcast dice tray, a set of metal dice, and this cool-looking dragon hide bag to go along with the dice. I mean, it's a good giveaway, so make sure you go and like and follow that Facebook page, because that's where I always post the giveaways.
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm super jealous because I couldn't enter, so enjoy that.
Well, you know, you're literally a part of the podcast. Come on.
You're one of us.
All right.
One of us. One of us.
One of us. You had no choice.
Yeah.
But before we get into the questions, as always, we do have a video version of the podcast every time on the YouTube Crithalla channel.
That is correct.
And we do a special little background. And in this episode, we are in an ancient arcane library.
Oh.
Yeah, little
I was wondering why it was cold.
It's a little chilly in here.
It's a little chilly in here. I mean, I feel at home, being a wizard and everything. This is definitely my wheelhouse.
That's true. That is true.
I'm not familiar with this place, though.
No,
I have no memory of this place.
Well, I figured we'd all meet here today because, sometimes answering questions involves more than just our knowledge. We need all of this amazing arcanic knowledge as well. You know what I mean?
Absolutely true. We
Hell
have
yeah.
to pull...
Hey, there's books on flumps. Hey, there's books on flumps.
Yes, my favorite!
I'll get it. You guys talk. I'll get it. I'll be right back.
I, I'm really
There-
just here for the Sir Garfield comics where he's really lazy and hates his owner, and all he wants to do is eat his owner's iron rations. So
Oh, yeah, true.
yeah,
Well, there. Oh, there's Mike. Actually, he went into the nonfiction flump section.
that sounds
It's weird.
strangely
There's
erotic.
a sign that says adults
Yeah.
only. It just
Adults
says
only.
Adults only. I'm not sure what's back here.
Oh
What
no,
exactly
no.
is a flump?
No,
Again?
get out of there.
Get out of there! You're always running
All
away.
right,
You need
I'm
a
coming.
library
I'm back.
card.
I'm back. Sorry. There was a neon sign. I'm back. I'm right.
Okay, all right, good. Yeah, neon sign. So, all right. So I'd say let's get to the questions, right?
Yeah, let's do it, man.
Hell yeah.
So how are we going to go about picking and choosing these questions?
So I have a list with everybody's name and their questions that they asked, and we're gonna roll a dice. Of course, it's a D&D podcast. You have to use a dice, and that will determine what we answer first. So
Cool.
let's get into it.
Let's do it.
All right. And that leads to Brett.
Hi, Brett.
Hi, Brett. How
Hello.
are you?
Thanks for asking questions too, and good luck on the giveaway.
Yes, sir. How can you introduce a new player into the world of D&D? Where can you learn how to play the game and see how it works? Well, I mean, there's a ton of options. There are so many options to learn how to play this game.
For sure.
Way more now than there used to be.
Yeah, way more now than what there used to be. There's YouTube channels. I mean, there's just the straight up book. I in my personal opinion, the best way to do it is if you're brand new and you're playing with people that have played it or are veterans, just hop in. Just straight up hop in. Whatever you don't know, they're just going to tell you how to play the game, you know? As you go, they will just teach you. If they're cool, you know. They could be jerks and be like, read the player's handbook.
There'll always be someone at the table that's read the book. That's usually me.
Yeah.
So there's always someone that'll walk you through stuff, and it's a type of game that you could really learn by playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Hands-on experience is probably the best way to dive head deep into it. One of the biggest issues you're going to have getting people into D&D for the first time is finding enough players to play at once, conflicting schedules, that sort of thing. However, Wizards of the Coast thought of this and made D&D way more accessible for anybody to get into. One of the things that I absolutely recommend, and Dan, if you want to throw up a picture of this we'll pull a Google picture or whatever.
Yeah.
They created not too long ago what's called an Essentials Kit. And it's for 2 to 6 players. 2. So one person is a DM and one person is a player. You could literally do a duet to sort of, get your feet wet. And once you find some more people to play with, then you can expand that to a more group setting.
Yeah.
They're also coming out with a new starting kit after their D&D anniversary podcast event thing that they did recently. I don't know if
They
I
didn't know about that.
You didn't see that? That's where they announced that Spelljammer is coming to 5th edition.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I cannot wait for that.
I'm really excited. But during that press kit, they also talked about how the next generation of Dungeons and Dragons, not 5.5 or 6th edition like we thought, but the next iteration of it is going to be super accessible and highly digital. So that way you can find and meet and play with people online pretty much at the snap of a finger.
Oh, that's probably why they bought D&D Beyond.
That's probably exactly why
Yep.
they did. And going on a little bit of a conspiracy here, just real quick, I have a strong sneaking suspicion that they're going to release their own virtual tabletop.
Oh, that'd be sick. Oh my god.
That's going to be fully integrated with D&D Beyond. I feel like
That
that's what they're
definitely
going to.
doesn't even sound conspiratorial. That sounds like facts. You're spewing
Yeah.
facts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing too, if you don't know anything about D&D, a couple of things that I could recommend you check out. It depends on your age too, because some of the things that I'm going to mention are a little bit more adult oriented. There's a lot of swearing and suggestive themes. But definitely look into any of the Penny Arcade Expo, the PAX D&D stuff with Acquisitions Incorporated.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my god. Okay, so they have Chris Perkins who dungeon masters that, and he's one of the guys who works in Wizards of the Coast creating the adventure modules and the rule sets and stuff, and he is fantastic.
He's so good, man.
He is so
him.
good.
Love him.
That would be my recommendation. Again, it's a little bit more adult, and the themes are very suggestive, and they do make a lot of raunchy jokes, but it's in good taste, and if you want to see how that works, definitely check that out.
So yeah, definitely check out starter kits. I mean, I know when we first started playing 5th, they even had a original starter set. Check out starter sets, check out YouTube pages. I mean, just a simple Google search or a YouTube search could show you things. And yeah, even acquisition. Oh my god, I love them so much. All of those, they're so good. They're so funny, and that really gets like, all right, I'm hyped. Let's try to play. Definitely.
Yeah. When I started DMing, it was specifically because I wanted to be like Chris Perkins.
Yeah.
I wanted to run my games like how he ran his games, which is probably going to be controversial. I actually like Acquisitions Incorporated games way more than Critical Role games.
Ooh, hot take.
Hot take. Hot take.
Shots fired.
Shots
Fight
fired.
me on it. But hopefully that helps.
Real quick, what's super important is do not feel intimidated by the amount of books, the rules, other players, Reddits, message boards. Don't feel intimidated. Everyone plays and learns at their own speed, and you will find someone that you will click with eventually.
Exactly. That's the biggest thing.
And the rules themselves are even arbitrary, right? They're only guidelines. Mm-hmm. You don't have to follow, word for word exactly what it says in the book. If you decide to change something that makes sense to you and makes sense to your party and your friends, do that. Just do it. Who cares?
Exactly.
Yep.
The important thing is that you have fun and, make memories with your friends and stuff while playing.
The most important part.
Agreed.
All right, let's move on to the next question.
Yeah, thanks, Brett.
Thanks, Brett.
Dice.
Good luck, sir.
Yes,
Thanks a
good
lot.
luck.
All right. Let's see. That goes over to... Oh, boy. Celebrimbor?
That's Celebrimbor.
Oh, sorry. Celebrimbor.
He's the forger of the Rings of Power.
Oh, hell yeah.
Get your Tolkien lore
angered
straight.
the wizard.
You've angered...
I'm going to put evil eyes.
Yeah. Hold on. I have to go into the Tolkien wing and pull out the Silmarillion to show you this, okay?
He's not a conjurer of cheap tricks.
I'm beginning to think a library was a bad setting. Anyway, he or she asks, so I am actually making a D&D campaign from scratch. Big undertaking. I have the premise and a bajillion ideas floating around. From the opening, where is the place to go? All right. So this immediately seems like you got a whole bunch of ideas. You want to do all these crazy things, but you don't know where to start.
We've all been there.
Yeah, we've all been there.
We've all been there.
Oh, yeah. You always come up with the main plot first, You always come up with the big bad and the crazy things that'll happen, but you never really know where to start. A tavern.
No.
The classic.
No. I mean, you can.
You can.
Absolutely. You could absolutely start in a tavern.
Yeah.
No, I'm trying to figure out exactly what this question is saying. From the opening, do you mean like the very first session? Because if so,
I think that's what that means.
If that's what they mean, then yeah. I mean, a tavern is a great place. I personally recommend starting your campaign with a hook. Something that, something happens and immediately drags them into the plot. They have no way to avoid it or to fight it. They just have to go along with it. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to be on rails. It just means that their characters inherently need to be invested in the events that are taking place.
Right.
So sitting just in a tavern doing whatever, getting drunk, and then expecting your party to go out and find the plot themselves, that's probably not going to happen.
No, not at all.
No.
Not at all.
Also, prioritize your bajillion ideas. Because not every idea is going to be able to be viable for whatever level the group is starting at. So prioritize them in challenge. And then sooner or later, it will fall into place. Like one will fall, then two, then three. It will line up.
Yeah.
If you just do that. So prioritize it around the group. Hopefully the group is already set.
Yeah,
And
hopefully.
it's not just a bajillion ideas with no players yet. Then that's just like a whole mess of ideas.
And if you have like a bajillion ideas too of like how to start it, I mean, our favorite thing in the world is a random table. Like if you came up with like 7 or 8 different ways to like really start your campaign, or like put them in a certain location with like a certain objective, just write them all down, roll a dice, and pick it, and just go for it. There are so many different options, and again, going through many references like Reddit and stuff, there are so many creative ways to get your players immediately involved and together. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would also add, don't be afraid if your initial challenge is too dangerous for your players. Only because from the beginning, and this is just my personal opinion, it depends on what kind of campaign you're running. I want my players personally to feel like there is a risk involved with diving headstrong into something that their characters are not prepared for. So
Yeah.
even if you start the campaign off with the big bad immediately presenting themselves, doing something dastardly or evil or just overall messed up, make your players be a consequence of their actions, or make them suffer the consequences of the big bad's actions rather than directing his malice towards them specifically.
Yeah.
Maybe they are in that tavern and the Lord decided to screw over this big bad in one way, shape, or form. Or like the local Mages Guild kicked him out and he sought revenge, so he attacked the Mages Guild while the players are in the tavern.
Yeah.
And as a result, these hordes of beastly, demonic, otherworldly creatures are now swarming the streets, killing people, and they have to fight their way out of it.
Right.
You know, because then you set up who the bad guy is, what the trouble is, and a need for them to react. Dynamic, ever-shifting plots is probably a good place to start, too.
God.
No, I was just going to say, it just depends on the players
Yeah.
and what they do. But give them choices.
I think even like a great way to just say it is like give your players a purpose to be together to fight for a common goal. Like I when I first started my game, I know I did they all were coming through a town where travelers and adventurers go through all the time. It is consistent flow of people coming in and out of this town, and it's a resting point, it's a place to relax, and it just happened to be that those specific players happened to get poisoned and thrown into a dangerous dungeon all together as they wake up. So all of a sudden they were together, they didn't know where they are, and they had a common goal: get the hell out of there. And that's, you know, it can just be as simple as that. Anything like that, honestly.
Yeah, and if worst case scenario, trial and error.
Trial and error.
If you try something and it doesn't work and it kills your players, oh well, roll new characters. I have a different idea to start.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Perfect.
And don't be afraid to use session 0 for things either.
Yeah.
oh, actually, yeah, that's a huge point. I definitely recommend always starting with a session 0. Figuring out what classes your characters are going to be playing could also help shape what kind of campaign you want to have.
Yeah.
'Cause,
And then as they talk to each other, they're going to start linking up, forming bonds character-wise. And then after session 0, it should lead you into a certain way.
Yeah, that is totally true. Give them a bit of lore about what they're getting themselves into, and then they can kind of go back and forth, like gods, for instance. Maybe you created a certain amount of gods, and maybe 2 of your players follow the same god, or something like that. Something to link them together, so it's easier for you to decide what you want to do. Good points. Good points. I almost feel like we're like really good at this or something. It's weird.
Yeah, I at least I hope so.
It's like we run a podcast about DMs. It's crazy.
Well, I've been reading from all these books. I'm just reading what's in these books.
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
The good old library.
There's just a stack of books by me, and I'm just like, don't look.
Consistently learning at all times. The true way to be a DM. All right, thank you for your question, and good luck.
Yes, good luck.
Let's move
Good luck.
on to the next one.
Roll the dice.
I rolled a nat 1. What does that mean?
A nat 1.
Yeah.
I think I trip.
I think I knock down bookcases like dominoes.
They just all start crashing down.
Just boom, 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 all the way through. Yeah.
No, it actually leads to this question. Number 3. From Courtney.
Hi, Courtney.
Hello, Courtney.
Hello.
Her question is, why is an owlbear, specifically a snowy owlbear, the best and cutest monstrosity? There's a lot of hot takes in this podcast today.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a snowy owlbear before.
Never seen a snowy owlbear?
They are pretty adorable.
My settings are rarely ever in snowy areas. I mean,
maybe she's referring to the babies. I mean, I know there's like fan art of like baby owlbears, and like, goddamn, they're cute. They are cute.
homeboy looking like Hedwig over here.
However, I think you're wrong. I think the cutest monster, even if I don't think it is a monstrosity. I think it's like an aberration. But Flump.
No, not the flumps again.
Flump's the cutest. I don't care. I don't care what anybody says.
Look, my belief, Courtney, all right, you're entitled to your opinion. I was going to say wrong opinion, but here's the truth, okay? Owlbears only look cute in illustration. There are some really hyper-realistic, like, detailed photos and illustrations of what an owlbear would actually look like if it did exist. Every single one of them is terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, they really are something that I would actually be more afraid to run into something like this than a hungry grizzly bear out in the wild in real life.
Yeah. There's a company that makes D&D mounts, like head mounts. Like they have like a red dragon, they have something else, and one of them is an owlbear, and it's like a realistic, like full-size scale owlbear head. That thing looks freaking terrifying. That beak is huge on that bad boy. Big boy.
I mean, it's an owl the size of a bear, dude.
Yeah.
You know how much like strength is probably behind his like bite on his beak? No. Absolutely not.
I'm trying to think I wonder if an owl with the head of a bear would be cute.
No, that even sounds worse. I think that is legitimately... If I see a freaking bird flying at me with a huge bear head going... I'm like, no. Wake me up from this nightmare, please.
I'm going to have to put bear owls in my game.
Bear owls?
Bear owls. I was going to say myconids.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
You know, cute little mushroom dudes kind of just walking around minding their own business with their big derpy kind of faces.
If I remember correctly, I hate them.
Yes, I think that was discussed in a previous podcast.
That they're useless.
Yeah, they're literally useless.
Well, hey, I mean, they don't hurt nobody.
I don't want to hurt nobody.
They're just a little fungi. You know, unless you get the ones that are like hyper realistic looking, like the Last of Us looking clicker type myconids.
Yeah.
Then,
Oh, ew.
No, but if they look like your typical like Toad from Mario with the little red cap and the little white stalk,
Yeah, I'm about that.
and little chunky legs, like then I'm all for that personally.
I don't know. I think if I saw Toad in real life, I'd be scared out of my brain.
Yeah, probably. I was just about to do a Toad impression, but I don't want to blow people's ears up today.
Dude, I've been thinking about the Game Grumps Toad impression with the war. You know,
They do it so good. They
God,
really do.
If you guys have not watched that, by the way, definitely check that out. It's so funny. The War on the Mushroom Kingdom. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, no, Medusas are the cutest until they kill you.
I think you're confusing cute with hot or sexy
Oh.
or erotic, perhaps.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay, Flump.
Thank you. Can we all
I
agree on
agree.
Flump?
I agree on Flump.
Yeah, you're an owlbear.
Okay, Flumps are really cute, lovable Cthulhus, so I'll go for Flumps.
Okay. Great question, though. I'm glad you have a
Yeah.
nice hot take on the
Great
cutest.
question.
I never really even thought about the cutest D&D monster before, so thank you. That was interesting.
And look forward to a bear owl coming to an adventure.
I'm posting a picture right now. I don't even care. That's what a bear owl would look like. Run. Thank you for your question, Courtney, and good luck.
Yes, thank you.
Good luck.
The dice picks the next one.
Cast the die.
All right. And that leads to Len. Hello, Len.
Hello, Len.
Hello.
His or her question is, how do you handle players that like to derail games?
Oof.
I actually have not had an experience like that yet as a DM.
You are lucky, sir.
I know. I think the most derailment I've ever had is like people like side conversations during major plot points or like people on their phones. But like in terms of like in game, I've never really had like a major derailment before.
Maybe that's what they mean. Like if like as a DM, this always happens to me. I mean, not always, but it happened quite a bit in the past where like you're trying to explain a bit of lore or have a conversation as like an NPC to tell them something, like do a little bit of a lore dump on them. And like you'll have players who are like just not taking notes because they're on their phone or they're not paying attention at all, and having like a side conversation with somebody else at the table. And then when something important pops up in the game and you expect your characters or your players to know it, they're like, I don't know. Like, I don't know.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, you didn't tell me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then why weren't you paying attention? Stop it. Stop making my job harder.
In terms of like in-game derailment, I mean, I've seen it a few times. One of the players that we used to have, Chris, he was very good at that. We would just walk into a town and like we were trying to figure out what's going on, and like he would just kill an old man on a bench and be like, "Oh, okay, so here comes all the freaking guards to completely arrest you all."
Yeah, I played with Chris.
You sure did.
Yeah, Chris would always do that.
Always.
That shit. Oh my god. I remember we were in a town and there was somebody by a fountain or something, and I vaguely remember him like attacking or just killing somebody in cold blood out of nowhere in the middle of town by a fountain.
Yeah. And the guards came and it was a huge mess. I'm pretty sure it was a major plot point in that town, and oof. Yeah. I don't know.
How do you avoid that? Well, for one, you could let it happen for that session, and then after that session is over, you pull them aside and say, "Hey, listen, you have full agency to do what you want, but I need you to be aware that if you do anything like this again, I'm changing your alignment of your character, and you're going to hand over your sheet, and your character is now an enemy. Go roll another one."
I say that all the time. Alignment changes can be drastic.
Yeah, anybody who tips over into like the chaotic or the evil spectrum, I usually have my players hand over their character sheets because now they no longer have control over them.
They're full evil.
They're fully evil now.
That's good.
They become an agent of chaos, and yeah. So,
what about you, Mike? Have you ever had a derailment?
Yes.
Oh, that sounds bad.
Many vindictive, purposeful, fuck your game derailments.
Oh, boy.
So, usually, and I think it just comes with experience and starting to not give a crap, I let them choke on it. Like, if they do something drastic, like kill someone at the fountain, they're going to choke on it. It's just, things are going to snowball out of their control. If they're not paying attention and I tell them don't do A, they do A. There's no takebacks. I'm not like, you messed up, son. Sorry.
Yeah, big time.
You commit.
And if they complain out of game, I usually just tell them, you did that. I didn't do anything to you. You did that. You literally made your bed, then sat it and set it on fire, and you're complaining that it's hot in your room. No, you did that. I didn't do it. So I just let them choke on it.
Yeah, fair enough. I think like a good thing to do is like punish that player first, and then if he still continues to do it, he or she, punish the party, because then maybe the party either during game or after game will be like, bro, can you relax? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to leave it to the party as much as possible, in game and out. Like if the group isn't a bunch of murder hobos, they should look at that and be like, why?
Yeah.
Why did that just happen?
Exactly.
Also, wording counts too. Don't punish the player. Punish the character.
Exactly.
Right.
I don't.
You don't want-
I
yeah.
never like when the game stuff, goes past the boundary, and then people are mad at each other.
Yeah.
Like out of
yeah.
game, or you're punishing the play. Like, well, you can't come next week. Like, no, I'm too old for that. No.
Yeah, no, I should have worded that differently. No, that's definitely, the character.
But if it does become a problem where, like, your player, the actual person playing the character, is like a sadist or a masochist, I forget which one, who
Sadist.
enjoys, is it sadism?
Yeah, masochism's the ones that like pain. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, yeah.
It's in a book over here.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah, naturally. The great tome of masochism.
Oddly enough, it was in the flump section. I'm not sure why.
Oh man.
Same author.
Sorry, go ahead.
After a certain point, though, you definitely, like, if it does get too bad where you as a DM cannot manage it and your players are complaining to you, like, through private chat channels, like, hey, this character or this person is being very disruptive or not having a good time, it's okay to thin the herd at that point. Like, what's more paramount is that the unanimous group is having a good time, and that includes you and the majority of the players. If one person is ruining it for everybody, get rid of them.
Yep.
Be like, hey, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
like, you're still a good friend of mine, but like it's just not working with this group.
Yep.
I've had friends having to go on break for a while, just for the good of the group and the sanity of the group, because people wait whole weeks, sometimes a whole month to play, and then they sit down and some guy is just being argumentative and destroying shit, and we have to go talk to the guards. I set the guardhouse on fire. It's like, okay.
Yeah, you're coming to play somebody else's game. Like, sure, play your character, but like to an extent. And I feel like most people understand that.
Yeah, that's where session zeros come into, because you set that expectation ahead of time. You give them the first initial warning. Don't do this crap, and there won't be any problems.
Yeah. Great. Yeah. Thank you very much, Len.
Yeah,
And
thanks, Len.
Good luck.
Thanks and good luck.
The dice rolls again.
The dice speaketh.
Here we go. Okay. We're going to move on to Lisa. Hello,
Oh.
Lisa.
Hello, Lisa.
Hello.
This is actually a player question, more of a DM question.
Oh.
What is your favorite kind of character to play and why? Also, do you always play your own gender?
That's actually a really good question.
Oh, my favorite. Oh, man. There's a lot of good classes in D&D.
Especially nowadays.
Oh, yeah. I think maybe just pure nostalgia. Probably the Barbarian. Just because
The roots.
they're also wild and crazy, and you could just do some angry things to these people that are trying to hurt you, and it is fantastic. I love playing like a ruthless yet funny, silly barbarian. It's a good combo. It's really good. And gender, I've played female and male in the game, so I really don't have a preference, really. It's kind of whatever the story calls for, in my opinion.
What about you, Mike?
I recently, since 5th edition, it's been a tie. Before 5th edition, it's always been wizard. Any school, any race, just wizard. It's just the way my mindset is. I overthink stuff. I think I know better. And it's pretty much just a wizard.
That's literally your character in my game. That's yeah.
Yeah.
When I first met you and we sat at the table together as me as Zod, the goblin warlock, you also were a wizard then too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still the
It
same
just
wizard.
happens.
It's the same wizard.
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't died yet, thankfully. And but now it's a tie between a wizard and I haven't got a chance to play one yet. But I enjoy DMing for them, and I really want to play one with a DM I could trust. But warlocks. And it's not for any power. Like, I don't care about the Eldritch Blast Hex combo. I don't care about any of that. It has a built-in story element to it. With the patron, how you interact with the patron. the powers have built-in story, like thematics and rules. It's just a story RP class to me.
Yeah.
And I really want to play one, and I love being the patron when I run games to people, coming up with why they did this. Did they sell their soul? What did they give in return? How does the patron help? Other entities trying to seduce them away from that. And I really want to play one and like really work out the patron with the DM and have them like interfere in my life and go back and forth and stuff like that. So that's pretty much for me. And as for the I've played every gender, sexuality, every age. I've been a wolf before. I've been I made a character once who actually counted as a magic item.
Wow.
He was stealing a philosopher's stone, and the wizard tried to stop me, and it blew up, and I basically counted as an item from then on.
That's fantastic.
And I did have some magic because of the philosopher's stone, but in order to cast the spells, I had to come up with rhymes on the spot to cast the spells.
That's cool.
I have no problem being an intelligent weapon. I have no problem like it's
a
it's
sentient
story.
sword.
I have no problem
Exactly.
for the story. I have no
For the
problem
story.
being anything.
Yeah.
That's truly just a credit to your flexibility and adaptability as a player. And I just want to point out to everybody who might be new to D&D, whether it's like within the first 3 or 4 years or few years of your D&D lifestyle now moving forward.
Yeah.
The more you play, the more that you mess around with, the more that you just kind of try random wacky things for your games. You will get to that point too. And I honestly, once you unlock that potential to be and play anything, that's when like the real game starts.
The game gets fun.
It does, because
Yeah.
you could just do the most wild, insane things.
When you can roleplay everything, that's when it gets creative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that being said, what is my favorite kind of character to play? Well, I mean, if we're talking personality, like at first, simply because, I was new, I was shy, playing with a bunch of people who I hadn't really hung out with, like for an extended period of time. Like we were friends, but we weren't like super, super, super best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just getting into like this new medium of role play and like fantasy and like things that they're normal now, but like when we started, it was kind of like, I mean, people
A
feel
little
like
awkward.
it was a little awkward. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Like even at the table, we'd say something and be like, ha.
Yeah. That's funny.
I played so long ago, people still thought we worshipped Satan. So I get it.
Hell yeah, brother.
Hell yeah. We still do. Don't worry.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of Mountain Dew. It's Satan
Yeah.
and Mountain Dew.
And Jack Daniels. Mountain Dew and Jack
Yeah,
Daniels.
now that we're older, Satan, Mountain Dew, Jack Daniels. And a lot of pizza.
Lots of pizza.
So starting out, my characters tended to be very grounded, right? Like I did not do anything too like crazy and flamboyant, like extraordinary, because I knew that starting at level 1, my character was not a god, so I was very grounded. It was very kind of like a stoic kind of, there are evil things afoot, and it is my duty to fend this stuff, like to fight off this stuff or die trying. As I became more acclimated to the world of D&D and like its mechanics and stuff, nowadays I like playing, like especially in 5th edition, it's a little bit different because we were also playing basic expert BX D&D on the side. But I'm running it. I'm not actually playing a character, but if I were, it would be a little bit different. 5th edition now, I like to play the wacky wild shit. Like the last character that I rolled was a goblin warlock. And like Mike said, like warlocks are great for that role play because it literally is a role play class. There's story elements ingrained into the actual class itself, and I had a lot of fun playing as him. Now, as far as like other genders, my first ever character, when I started playing, I think it was when we started 5th edition. It was when we started 5th edition, I believe somebody else was DMing. I don't think I was.
Didn't you play a cleric?
No, I played Frayne. Remember, I played the
Oh, right.
the Eladrin elf wizard who lost her arm.
That's right.
So like I actually include like handicaps in my characters, like actual physical handicaps with some of them.
Yeah.
Mostly for story. Like back then I wasn't really thinking too deeply into inclusivity. Not like it was like a taboo thing to do by any means. It was just, I've seen people play characters where they're like artificers, where they have missing limbs, and so they create prosthesis for themselves. Like steampunky kind of mechanical with like the gears turning type stuff. And I'm like, dude, that shit is cool.
Yeah, you always see artwork like that of artificers.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't always play my own gender. To answer your question, Lisa, no, I personally don't. I will play whatever, like what Dan said, whatever fits with the story and the narrative. I will just roll with it.
Yeah.
And I perfectly comfortable doing that.
Yeah,
so.
I did that too because I played my Ol was he was my barbarian, dwarf barbarian. He was a male, but my next character, which was like kind of like a 40 years later after all of those characters. I played his daughter, who he had with a succubus, but that's a whole nother story. And she was a ranger, and I played her. So it fit the story. Like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna play Ol's daughter. Let's do that. It's 40 years later. She's she's an adventurer. So it just fit the story for me. But again, like barbarians for me were really fun. I really like them. The way you guys say like warlock, it's like it's really like already adjusted to an RP aspect. I liked barbarians because they're not that they're completely bare bone, but they're pretty simple to understand and get immediately. So it leaves a lot of room for creative freedom. That's what I liked about barbarians a lot.
They are very moldable.
Yeah.
You can go in so many different directions with the barbarian.
Yeah,
They're
because
fun.
in real life, there's a lot of types of what would be classified as barbarians. So your barbarian could be like multicultural spanning. It's not just like when you think knight, people think a certain type of knight. Like barbarian, pretty much everyone in the world's been called a barbarian at one point or the other.
True.
Like every civilization. So you could be from any culture, anywhere. You could fight with anything. As long as it's a strength-based thing and it's about overwhelming force, you could be anything.
Exactly. All right, cool. Thank you so much, Lisa, for your question, and good luck in the giveaway.
Good luck.
Good luck.
Let the dice of choice roll again.
Yes.
Roll the dice.
Yes.
The dice of destiny. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yes. That one will go to Michael, and not you, Mike. Don't.
Not
You're still
me.
not in. You're still not in the.
Yeah, I was hard. I can't.
Michael, what's up, dude?
What's up, Mike?
Hello.
His
Not you.
question. Oh yeah, not
Oh. Goodbye.
you. Goodbye. No, don't go away again.
Oh, there
All
goes
right,
in the
I'm
flump
back.
section.
Yeah, the flump section yet again. Ugh, typical Mike. Jeez. Michael's question is, this is a good one. Is it evil if I put my players in a room filled with mimics disguised as the objects in the tavern so that the more things they touch, the more encounters they have? As a mimic lover, no. There's never enough mimics. Ever. I love mimics.
Can I ask an off-the-rail question real quick?
Yeah.
What does a natural mimic look like? What does a mimic look like in its natural form when it's not shapeshifted into something?
I think a ditto.
I was thinking a ditto.
I was just about to say ditto. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, like, what if you had a mimic that was mimicking a mimic?
Wouldn't that just be a mimic?
Would that be? Would it?
It would just be. He's just mimicking himself.
But
A mimic.
a mimic. No, I don't think it's evil either.
I think at that point, it's like when you look at like two mirrors and you see yourself into infinity. Like, you just made a mimic cosmic being at that point.
Yeah.
I don't think that it's evil, Michael. I think, in fact, everything should be a mimic. I think the tankard should be a mimic.
Yeah.
I think one of the player characters, you should be like, "Hey, can I see your sheet real quick?" You rip it up. You say, "Surprise, you're a mimic," and then the party member eats the other party members.
Yeah, your flip mat can literally just be a mimic, and it folds in on itself and just kills everybody in the entire world.
Like, as you're sitting at the table, flip the mat up, like fold it in half, and be like, "Oh, your characters are dead. Goodbye. Get out of my house."
The world was a mimic.
The world was a mimic. The planet is a mimic.
I honestly have nothing to add except I agree with everything that's being said and make everything a mimic. Mimic the world.
Yeah, invite them over, order some pizza, say the pizza's a mimic, and then throw pizza at your friends.
I think the takeaway from this is we all like mimics here, so we totally agree. Just go for it, dude. It's a mimic.
Yeah, it's not evil.
I told Dan on Saturday the idea I had for the golem and the mimic.
Oh yeah. Tell that. That's sick.
That I want to put an iron golem, but his chest and abdomen are sort of like carved out, and there's a mimic in there.
Ooh,
I love.
So
that.
just like this big bulky thing with gnashing teeth, and like the tongue coming out of its chest.
Oh my god, dude, that'd be the coolest thing. Seriously, I want like a medallion mimic, and he just stays in the medallion, so he just like licks people from my chest. That'd be sick.
I want a mimic flump.
Here we go. Let's go.
Now we reach top tier mimicry. Okay.
Yeah, that's literally actually my favorite monstrosity.
That is S tier mimicry right there.
Yeah. The flump mimic.
All right, writing it up.
The flimmic.
The flimmic. That's the best homebrew thing I've ever heard of in my life.
Could you imagine that? Because the players are like, "Oh, look how cute! That's a flump. He's so nice. He's so gentle." And then like it turns into this Cthulhu monster where it's like, it's just giant gnashing teeth, and then you die. And then
that's the shit of nightmares.
And that's my session. Next time we play, guys. Next Sunday.
Thank you, Michael, for giving all of us DMs the worst ideas for their players. It will be used.
Thank you,
Mike. Thank you, Mike.
Good luck.
Good luck. All right, let's move on to the next one. Dice, go!
Okay. I hope the dice tray isn't a mimic.
No. You mean the one that we're sending out as a gift?
Yeah, if he
As
wins.
a prize?
Yeah.
We're not responsible for any mimicry you may receive from this podcast.
Yeah.
Crithalla is completely immune, like legally.
Yeah. I have a lawyer. He's a flump. It's like, okay.
Yeah, he wears a tie.
Yeah, he's really
That's
cute.
adorable.
That's why I say it's the cutest. Anyway, John asks.
Hey, John.
Yeah, hi, John. How are you? This is an interesting one. Let's see if we can answer this one.
Okay.
He seems to be having a problem with something mechanically. I'm trying to fix my mower, and I can't figure out what's going on with my steering. I just replaced the front shocks. The hardware seems tight, and the hydraulic oil is level. The right side of the steering seems soft when I go forward. Maybe that shock I replaced was also bad. It's a John Deere hydrostatic ride-on for reference. So, yeah. I think the first thing you need to do is probably become an artificer. Because obviously you are not, because they are one of the best ways to create and tinker. Once you learn the ways of the artificer, I think this is something you don't have to ask us, and probably you can solve it yourself. Mike, don't you play like a tinkerer in my game?
Oh, yeah, and usually I have no problems with my gear. It usually works the way it's supposed to, so maybe he's like took the wrong class for the idea he had for his character.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Like, you want to cast spells, so I'm taking Barbarian. It just doesn't work that way.
No, it doesn't. I would also say just take it to your local blacksmith or maybe your local stables. Maybe they would be able to assist you with something like that, especially since it's something you can ride. It's probably a mount type, so stables could have... stables could
maybe
have
maybe he doesn't have proficiency with land vehicles.
Oh, true. Mm.
He's using it at disadvantage.
Yeah. And that's why he can't figure it out. He keeps rolling way too low to even figure it out himself.
Yeah, ask your DM if you could change your background.
Yeah.
The real issue here is It sounds to me like what's actually going on is that your gear and pinion kit or set for your power steering might be a problem. If you have one of the L series L100s or the anywhere from like the L100 to L120s, you can actually get some of the steering spindles. That would actually help with a little bit of the mushiness. Now, if it's one of the hydrostatic 318s or the 332s, you could actually get one of the steering cylinder replacements for both the left and right hand side for when you're turning the steering column. But definitely, I would recommend taking a look at the spindle sector and the spindle gear kit, because it sounds to me like you do have an issue with the power steering. That's what I would recommend. If you already replaced the shock, check to see if it does have a shock on the right hand side, because it does sound like it could be your steering cylinder.
Yeah, or that too. That could definitely be it.
Or the tie rods. I think it's a tie rod, actually. It could be a tie rod problem.
John, thank you so much for your question. Good luck in the giveaway, my friend.
Good luck.
Yeah, good luck, John.
Good
and
luck.
And let us know what's going on with your hydrostatic ride on.
Yeah, or whatever crazy kind of goblin
Yep.
gnome mount you have created for
Yep.
yourself.
Hydroponic Dylons. Gotcha. Good to go.
If it has hydraulic oil, can it cast grease on at will?
Oh, shit.
Maybe. Should.
DM's discretion.
DM ruling?
DM ruling, definitely. All right, let's roll the dice.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, thank you, John.
Thank you. It also might be a mimic. Be careful.
True. Maybe that's
True.
why it's mushy.
Yeah. No, that's the flump. Flumps are mushy.
Check to see if you have a flump in your undercarriage.
Stuck in your engine.
It's stuck in your motor, yeah. You may have to clear out your flump filter.
Is your mower glowing with empathy? It could be a flump.
Okay, this question is from Eddie. What's up, Eddie? What's going on?
Hey, Eddie.
Hello.
His question is: when planning events in a campaign, do you prefer more combat encounters or roleplay opportunities for your players? That's a great question. I love that question. That's a hard question. Encounters is definitely a podcast I would like to do one day. Because I feel like that's something we could really deep dive into. But in terms of like what I prefer, I prefer roleplay because I think it gives you more of an opportunity to change the tides of things than just poking things with a sword and hitting things with a shield. And role-playing just develops the story more, not only for the story but also your characters. Your characters develop that way too, which is just beneficial for everybody. Yeah, no, I definitely think role-playing would be my go-to for sure.
Yeah, and Eddie does mention specifically combat encounters. You can have roleplay encounters. You can roll on a random encounter table and run into a traveling merchant or something and roleplay that as well. So starkly, it seems like it's either specifically like the combat aspect of D&D or just the roleplay aspect of D&D. Yeah, that's a really good question. Mike, why don't you go first if you're finished?
I'm all about the RP, as you all know, but also I would say that combat can also be role playing encounters.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Don't just say I roll my dice, I hit him. How do you hit him? How do you swing? What do you use? If you're a wizard, what kind of flair are you using? If you're a cleric, what prayer are you saying? Just make something up that makes sense and fits. Like, combat usually gets a bad rap because people just view it as I stand in front of the monster, I swing, he swings, I swing, someone dies. It doesn't have to be that. It can be role-playing as well. And I would just say, combat for combat's sake, I'm definitely 100% against. I don't like just throwing in combat to spice up a story. I'd rather do 8 hours of just talking and skill rolls, interaction, things like that. If combat flows from that, so be it. If not, I'm not going to be like, boom, no one expects the Spanish Inquisition, and then like there's a fight. That's not going to happen.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I just quickly I want to say like how you say like RPing combat is really good. My favorite question as a DM is how do you kill it? That's
Yes.
one of my favorite questions, because then the characters really get into it. The players are all like, "Oh, that's sick! That's awesome! That's gruesome!" Like people love getting that question.
And the players don't know the health pool of the monsters that they're fighting typically, and if it is like not necessarily a big bad, but a beefy bad, and combat is like 3, 4, 5, 7 turns in at this point, and your players are like down to like their last few hit points. They've already used their second wins or whatever, and then that one person rolls. Oh yeah, that's just enough to hit him. Roll damage, and then they roll, and it's like a d6 plus 2 or whatever, and they rolled a 1, so it's like 3 points of damage, and then everybody's like, and then the DM just kind of looks with a smirk. He's like, "How do you kill it?"
Yeah,
and then everybody's like, "Yeah, dude!" Like leading up to that point, if you could build tension during a combat, then that's when I think combat supersedes roleplay. If combat is handled properly. And the same is true for roleplay. If you handle roleplay poorly, then that's not going to be as much fun as combat is if you do combat very well. So to me, that's really just a matter of what the players are expecting. That again, going back to the session 0, you can set expectations. You can figure out what kind of players your players are, or your comrades are. Like you could talk to them in game or outside a game and be like, "Hey, do you like more combat? Do you like more role play?" I've even did that for us for our old school essentials game that I'm running.
Yes, you did.
I asked everybody like, "Hey, do you prefer more combat or more role play?" And unanimously, it was pretty much role play.
Yeah.
Which is good because OSC doesn't really tend to give you much for actually fighting things. It's more avoiding things and being a rat and scooping up a bunch of treasure and leaving. So you could definitely role play a lot more with old school stuff, I think, without having to get too much into combat. But the point is, if it's done well, I'm going to take like the centrist view and say that both are good if they're both handled properly. I've had really bad. Yeah, definitely read the room. I've had really bad combats where I'm like, this is taking forever, dude.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, this person didn't even read their character sheet. They don't know what spells they have prepared. What are they? It's been 7 minutes and he's still trying to figure out what weapon he wants to equip, dude.
Yeah, I know. It's been 7 minutes in combat, but about 2.5 hours of this one combat. Please, stop.
And then I've had roleplay where it's like it's not leading anywhere. It's very drawl. It's awkward. It's and then you just kind of get sucked out of it, and you're like, can we just move on, please? Like, I don't want to talk to the shopkeeper anymore. We have like our characters have shit they need to do. Why are we wasting our time here?
Yeah,
all for the sake of somebody getting their RP kicks in.
Yeah, I definitely agree with like reading the players and asking the players too, because I knew I just recently ran a session that was very RP heavy, and I had a feeling that one of my players was not going to be interested, but I wanted to test the waters anyway and try something different. And I was right. He wasn't super interested in it, but it did develop the story. And now I know for next time, a good balance between RP and combat are what my players like. So it really is reading the players. Definitely. I agree with that.
For sure.
For sure.
Agreed.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Agreed. Yes. Thank you, Eddie, for that awesome question. Good luck on the giveaway, bud.
Good luck, buddy.
Good luck.
All right. I think we have time for one more question. One more question.
Do we?
Should be good. I think we do. Time for one more.
For one more, we could squeeze one more in.
Yeah, we can make this one quick. Let's see.
Yeah. What's up next? Before you ask it, though, I just want to say for everybody, thank you again very, very much for all of your support for the Crithalla podcast and all of our subsequent social media platforms, Facebook and Twitter and everything else that we kind of have going. We've been having a lot of fun. I feel like I can confidently speak on behalf of Dan and Mike here that like we have been loving doing this. Every week that we come together and do these podcasts, and Dan has been doing an excellent job on his videos and reviews and stuff. And you guys have been fantastic as well. All of your comments and your feedbacks and just the views and the listens on the podcast and everything. Literally could not be doing this if nobody was listening and nobody was watching, but you guys have been outstanding. So thank you.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah,
it has been awesome.
I
I really
has.
appreciate you guys specifically in the podcast. I love you guys.
Yeah.
And everybody out there listening, we really appreciate each and every one of you, and that don't take that lightly. That's for real.
Real shit.
So, the final question is from Laura. Hello, Laura.
Hello, Laura.
Hello.
This perfectly ties in to the heartfelt things. A huge fan here is how she starts.
We have a fan.
We have a huge fan.
We have a huge fan.
Big fan.
Is the fan a mimic? Is the huge fan a mimic? Is it? Can I?
Just roll for me. Roll perception.
Hang on, let me get my D20 out here.
Oh no, an oscillating mimic.
An oscillating mimic.
I got a 12, and then you said perception, right?
Yeah.
That's +3, so 15.
You can't tell. You can't tell at all.
I can't tell. Okay.
No. As you pick it up and fan yourself,
yeah,
it feels really good because you're like, yeah, this is just a fan.
Oh, good.
Yeah, cool. Roll initiative.
What?
Anyway,
and then the fan asks you a question. It's a mimic.
Hello, says the fan.
Hello.
I see you have picked me up.
So yes, Laura, huge fan here. I've only DM'd a few times for a short amount of time each session. Each time I nearly always had help and never prepped anything. My question is, how much should stay behind the screen and how much should be shared? In what particular are you supposed to keep to yourself when you do? And last but most importantly, how do you quickly keep all of your information you just bullshitted and made up written somewhere so you can remember it in the order to keep continuity? Continuity.
These are great because
Yeah,
I
I
experience
great
this
questions.
every time I run a game.
Yeah.
Oh man, all right. Who wants to go first?
Go, Mike. You're good for it.
Okay. I personally think keep everything behind the screen. Don't let your players. If you want for tension's sake and for maybe a good hurrah or to keep them on their toes, every now and then you can roll something on the outside of the screen or do something, but don't ever let them know, what's behind the curtain. Let them think the wizard's a wizard. Don't let them know he's just some guy who got lost in a hot air balloon and wound up in Oz. Let them. They don't need to know what goes on. A lot goes on.
Yeah,
And
a lot goes on.
only let them know what they need to know to keep them enthralled and interested in the narrative. Don't overwhelm them with things, because lore dumps sometimes drive players crazy, and they don't like it. So
That's a fact.
try to just let things out from behind the screen in a natural, like, if they have curiosity, feed them. If they don't force feed them. And I think if you just stick with that balance, if you entice them enough, they'll want to know more, then you could let more out.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, in terms of roles, I would never show my roles ever, unless it was something so crazy where, like, maybe I had to roll a percentile for something crazy to happen. Maybe I would do that. Or if, I think we've all had this moment of, like, you rolled your third freaking crit And it's like, dude, I swear to God, look behind the screen real quick. I'm telling you, it's a freaking crit. I'm sorry. Like, but besides that, I would never share rolls or damage rolls or anything like that because, again, you know, sometimes, which we've talked about before, sometimes we fake numbers, you know, for the betterment of certain situations. It's a little unnecessary to show people exactly what you're doing. You know what you're supposed to be doing, and they don't have to know everything. But yeah, in terms of like story, I agree with letting out as much as needed. I know I've actually been not great with that. Sometimes I dump a lot of lore, and again, like I talked about before, some players don't like that as much as other players do. That's something I need to work on, but I do agree with that. You know, just as much as they need, and if they want to know more, they will find out more, some way, somehow.
I think I'm the only one who doesn't agree with both of you.
Really?
Yeah. When it
Really?
comes, yeah. So now, when it comes to roles specifically, I always show my roles. I mean, it's been a little bit different since we've been playing online. There's no way for me to actually show you the roles, but I am of the mind that any combat rolls for the monsters that I'm rolling for and the damage needs to be out in the open for the players. Because if players get the idea that you are fudging numbers, then if something bad truly does happen to them, they're going to think that, you know, it's possible that the DM is trying to kill the players, like, purposefully, you know. Especially if there was like a spat or like a disagreement in game where like the player themselves argued with the DM over like a ruling or over some other thing, and then later on in that session the DM kills that player. I don't want my player to think that I did that because I held a grudge against them.
I would
That's
rather
fair.
for sure.
You know what I'm saying? So like if everything
Yeah.
is completely transparent and out in the open, I feel like that is better for the overall experience because you know that transparency is there. However, there are other roles that can happen behind the screen that don't include combat. Specifically with old school D&D, if you were playing a thief, actually, if you were playing any character for that matter, and you were walking through a dungeon, the DM has to roll for each player to see if they spot a trap. There is no such thing as like, I'm going to search or I'm going to look for traps or anything like that, because the idea is that as you're moving through a dungeon, everybody is passively looking for traps. But the rolling back then was like 1 in 6 chance. It was a D6 instead of a D20. Rolls like that, I want to hide behind the screen, because it could be any role and the players don't know what I'm rolling for. So they're not going to change their character's tactics based on context clues that, oh, there might be a trap here. They don't know that, but that's going to change how their characters are going to act, you know?
Right.
So certain things I feel should be behind the screen and not so, you know, egregiously in their face. Other things should definitely be out in the open. But that's only in terms of roles. Other things to keep behind the screen: if you have miniatures for monsters, keep those behind the screen. Don't let the players know what you have planned for future encounters. All of your notes, keep all that stuff to yourself. Even handouts, try to keep those hidden behind the screen too. If you use handouts for your campaigns, don't give those out until they're absolutely necessary. And the last question that you ask, how do you quickly keep all the information you just bullshitted and made up written somewhere so you can remember it in order to keep continuity? Keep a notebook nearby is the easiest answer that I can give. Another thing you could do is have like your phone like audio recording. So as you're spewing shit from the cuff, you know, you can go back and listen to what you said and then write it down. What I do though, truthfully, and this happens even in our OSC campaign, I just make shit up and then I expect the players to remember.
Oh, fair.
You know? And then that bites you in the ass sometimes though, because the players will be like, no, you said that this character did this. And you're like, I don't remember that, but yeah, let's go with it.
Yeah, you know, I am the worst at that because Mike remembers every name that I give random NPCs. You just pulled out Roy the other day when we were playing, and I'm like, who the hell is Roy? When did I ever make a Roy character? And he's like, oh, well, he was the assistant of the High Mage. And I'm like,
Yeah, he was the apprentice that sold me on the Dowlow the Shatter spell.
oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, that man exists in my world.
That's right. And actually, because of Mike, that has actually made me, every time I now create a character or a name or a personality, I write it down.
Yep.
And at the end of the session, I actually have a compiled list now of NPCs I just off the cuff through. And I just write a quick, here's the guy's name, here's where he's from, here's where they found him in the story, and what they did. That way, if it is ever brought up again, I now have a note on it just to remember it. And it could just be something as quick as, here's the name, here's the location, this is what they did with him. Done.
And typically that's enough for the DM to, like, if you look and go back on your notes, that's enough to be like, oh yeah, I kind of remember bringing that guy up.
Yeah.
Like even if you just use a name and where they found him, usually that's enough to like flood your mind with the other remaining memories of what that character was doing. If I can make a recommendation, even before, like if you were talking about prepping, Laura, what I recommend is have a sheet ready. If you're doing NPCs, this is specifically for NPCs, have a sheet ready behind the screen with a bunch of pre-generated names for different races. Human male, human female, elf male, elf, dwarf, whatever. And then as you are on the cuff creating characters, circle the name or like cross the name out and then write on a separate notepad, here's the name, this is where they found him. Just so that way, the transition from play to making shit up kind of happens a little bit more seamlessly.
Yeah, I like that.
That's what I do. Actually, when we play, I have a sheet of paper. Actually, it's a PDF on my computer. I have like 3 or 4 PDFs of character names and their cultures and when I used them in the game. So yeah, that helps. That helps.
I also, before I started taking notes on my tablet to save space, because, as a DM, we have a lot of books and stuff. We can't bring all our stuff everywhere. If you're not running it at your house.
You're just not trying hard enough.
That's fair. I don't have a.
You gotta
I don't have an actual bag of holding yet.
If you're not wheelbarrowing in your DM stuff, then you're not DMing correctly.
Kicking open the door. Hey guys!
Throughout my role playing career, whenever I was to role play and I need a friend to hold my bag, I'm like, can you hold this for a second? They're like, sure. Like they almost drop it. And they're just like, what do you have in here? And I was like, I have worlds in here. You have no idea
the multiverse.
What I need to bring. You know how many books there are? At any point, you assholes could just walk into a portal into some place where I need a book. So no.
It's true.
But I also, before I started doing everything on my tablet, I used to use index cards a lot. And each index card was the place. So if they went to a town, even if it was just a rando town named like Brookshire or something, I would just take an index card out, say Brookshire, and anyone they met that had a name, I would just write their name and how they met them. And I would just have the cards of the places if they ever go back.
Trusty index cards, man. Can't go wrong with those.
Because I find a lot of people, especially since it's index cards, a notebook or like a large thing, like a large piece of paper, sometimes people find that a little intimidating because it's a lot of information all at once. But the index cards are quick shots. Like, this is Brookshire, this is the king, this is this, they met this person here, and that's it. And they could put that aside.
Yeah. Yeah, and I even do with Stavi's game in particular, I make sure every session is a new page in my book. So I'll actually write, like, this is session 3, session 4. So if there's ever anything we're confused about, maybe someone will say something like, oh, didn't that happen like 2 or 3 weeks ago? And it's like, oh, well, let me just go back to session 3 in my notes. And, oh, okay, here's the information. Keeping it slightly organized helps, too. Good spark notes.
Yeah, I have on my tablet, I have an app that's basically digital sticky notes. And especially in, like, Stavi's game, when we go to a different dungeon or the fort or everything, I have a whole new sticky note. And people that we met. Like, I have the special knock from the kobolds from the first dungeon on there still. I have, like, the name of the guy that was, like, we left. I have all that. That's that dungeon sticky note. So if we go back there, I'll know that was, the diamond with the 4 lines. That's the sign for danger. I have all that written down.
That's perfect.
Well, I hope that helps.
Yes, I hope that helps.
I hope that helps in your future endeavors as a budding DM.
You had a few options there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trial by fire is probably the best way to do it. Make mistakes, learn from them, get better.
And everybody DM's different.
Yeah. And as long as there's people around you to help, it'll become easier.
Yeah, definitely. All right, cool. Thank you so much for your question, Laura.
And good luck, and thank you for being a huge fan.
Yeah.
And you're not a mimic, right?
No, I already rolled initiative.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I rolled initiative, dude. I'm a wizard. I can't fight a mimic.
No, you're so screwed, dude.
I'm squishy.
Super squish.
I'm
I'm too busy drinking ale over at the tavern. That's probably also a mimic, but I really don't care. I'm just gonna roll intimidate on it, so it just stays a mug, so I can continue drinking my ale.
Stay as you are, beast. I have a thirst.
And the thirst is first ale, then blood.
Yeah, that's a barbarian in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know if I think that's going to be the last question that we have for today for time.
Yes. However, I will spin to win right now at this very moment.
That's right. The winners are announced right now.
Right now. I'm
Now?
going to screen record this just so I can post it. Yeah, right now. Literally right now.
Right now.
Literally right now.
Can we play non-copywritten 1970s game show music?
Sure, I will try to find that to the best of my ability.
I'm thinking The Price is Right, but not really. So.
Yeah.
If you can't
Unless
find
someone
it,
wants to sing it really off key.
if you can't find it, just record yourself saying non-copyrighted game show music and play that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in the most monotone
Yeah.
voice though. You have to be
Yeah.
non-copyright music.
Yeah, we are playing music. All right, here we go. I am tapping it. Screen record is on. Here we go. Spin to win, baby.
Spin to win.
And the winner is Len Rominsky. Len.
Woo!
Congratulations, my friend.
Congratulations,
Good job.
Len.
You win a beautiful dice tray with a nice set of metal dice and a wonderful little dice bag to go along with it.
Right on, dude.
We will contact you. We're gonna finish up the podcast, and then after a few days, I will post the video, and I will tag you, and you will message me because apparently pages can't message people. You have to message the page. So just message me, and we will get your contact information, and I will ship that out ASAP.
Right on. Congratulations,
Good job.
Len. Also, these are metal dice.
They're metal dice, yes.
Oh, dude, Len, what you should actually do is you should attach tiny little chains to them and make a huge flail, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like a cat o' nine tails or whatever. And then anytime your players try to derail your games, like in your question, you could just whip them for doing it with the dice that you win from this podcast. So,
My DMs told me so.
yeah.
But really, thank you everybody for entering. We
Yes.
really
Thank you
appreciate
so
it. We
much.
appreciate all the questions. This was really fun. Thank you guys so much.
Yes, thank you.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for checking out the Crithalla podcast. Here at Crithalla, we have a YouTube channel, the Crithalla YouTube. You can check out our top fives, our storytime videos, our reviews on gaming accessories, and we also have the video version of the podcast there. You can also check us out on any podcasting app. I have the podcast on most apps at this point. And also check out the Facebook and Twitter. Both are Crithalla D&D memes, and I would definitely check out the Facebook because we might do another giveaway soon. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially as this community is growing and we get more questions and we have more inspiration and motivation to do things like this. Get in early.
Yeah.
Get in early, be a part of it, and help us grow, and then we'll give you more free shit in the future.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, I roll to bribe.
All right, what did you roll?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, let's see. What'd you roll? Go
roll.
ahead.
Wait,
roll.
do I? You actually want me to
Yeah,
roll?
roll.
Okay.
Literally roll right
Okay.
We gotta
hold
be
on.
fair.
Hold on.
now. Mike, you're the DM. Go.
Okay.
Go ahead.
No, this is a legitimate roll. That's an 11 actually. It's legitimately an 11.
That's not too bad.
You're showing your dice.
I'm showing the dice on the
here.
camera. Yeah, so that's an 11.
Yeah, that's not that bad. I think that's definitely. Let me roll insight for everyone listening. Yeah, some people fell for that for sure. They really want the giveaways.
Oh, fair enough.
Fell for it.
Fell for it.
I mean, do I have proficiencies?
I don't know. What's your class? Are you a salesman?
No, I fix John Deere tractors for a living.
Oh. So you're a slayer of mimics.
Well, maybe one of your plugs gives you a proficiency? Do you have any plugs there, Stavi?
That's right. Yeah, let's do the plugs at the end of the podcast. So I do have a YouTube channel. It is Warband Gaming. I believe it's Warband Gaming Official. I forget what link I actually used for that. Nope, it's just Warband Gaming. So go ahead and check that out. Haven't done really much on it recently, but there are going to be some unboxings and Kickstarter stuff that is coming in pretty soon. We actually just got the PDFs for some super secret stuff that I can't talk about yet.
Man.
I recommend the Zomboid video. It's really fun.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, when I played Chad Chaddington. Yeah, surviving
Chad Chaddington.
Chad Chaddington.
It's actually really fun. You're like, yeah, I'll give him a T-shirt. Like, it's really good.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I haven't really put up anything, mostly because my 40-hour work week life working overnights has made it very difficult for me to put up any content. But that whole aspect of things is going to change pretty soon, so expect to see more content up there very, very soon. The only plug that I want to recommend truly is the Crithalla one, because more than likely when I start doing these unboxings, they're going to be put onto that YouTube channel.
Heck yeah, dude.
Yeah, so definitely check that one out more than even my stuff, my own personal stuff.
Oh, that's so nice.
Yeah.
Now, Mike, have you recently gone to Home Depot and maybe bought an outlet so you actually have a plug or anything like that?
I have gone to Home Depot recently, but no. But
Oh,
I know, I forgot completely about it. I'm just so focused on not being a mimic that
fair enough.
yeah, it's hard to keep this shape. I mean,
It's probably
I'm human. I'm human. Yeah,
it's probably for the best anyway. That plug was probably a mimic anyway.
most likely.
Yeah, probably.
Um,
I mean, my plug lives in Brooklyn.
fair.
Oh hell yeah.
Yeah.
As for me, just proud member of the Crithalla everything Facebook podcast. Proud Crithalla Hallian? Whatever we would call ourselves.
Oh. Are we a race now? Is that
Valhalla?
Crit Hollins.
Crit Holland?
Crit Holland. I like that.
Okay, stats incoming.
Nice. That's my new homebrew race.
We got a lot of homebrews today.
Yeah, we really did. But like I said, Mike, we'll get you on a storytime video soon.
Oh, for sure.
If you want to record something, we'll make the video. It'll be great. But yeah. All right, cool. Thank you guys so much for checking out the Crithalla podcast, and congratulations to our winner.
Yep, congratulations.
Congratulations, and get ready for the next one because it's coming soon. My name is Ol Skipflack, and we will see you in the next one. Goodbye.
Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Congrats, Len. Oh,
Yeah, good job,
Not a
Len.
mimic.
Good job.
Oh,
Yeah,
good job. No.
yeah. High
Not a
five.
mimic.
I'm going back to the flump section. I'll see you later.
Oh. Well, then I guess I'm just here alone now.
I'm still
By
here.
myself. All alone.
Hey!
All alone in this John Deere section, looking up, trying to how to figure out this man steering issues.
I just sit on the floor then.
These documents are ancient. They tell me nothing. I give up. I quit. I'm leaving.
Yeah, sounds good. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye!